For more on China's technology industry and how it compares to its global peers, we're joined live by Rebecca Fannin from San Francisco. She's the founder and editor for Silicon Dragon News. Rebecca, thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Nice to be here.
Rebecca, more people in China use their mobile devices to pay their bills, order services, go on dates, watch content than anywhere else in the world. In 2015, mobile payments surpassed those in the U.S. So how come China is so advanced in the adoption of mobile?
Well, I think China skipped right over the PC era and went directly to mobile. So all of these apps now, you could do everything on mobile, practically. Pay for everything, book a restaurant, buy movie tickets, book a taxi, order food. People don't carry around credit cards. They actually just pay for everything by their mobile phone. So it's just used for everything. And it's ubiquitous in China, much more so than it is in the U.S.
But why do you see that difference? Why is it so much more popular and ubiquitous in China than it is in the U.S.?
Well, it started earlier. So the adoption has been very fast. And you have this huge mobile population that is really not on the PC. And they also, Chinese are not using credit cards that much either. So mobile device is used for payments, and unlike it is in the U.S. We're moving this way in the U.S., but China's ahead.
All right, so China may be further along in the big-scale adoption of mobile technology, but where is it in terms of design and innovation? Would you say it's leading the U.S. in mobile technology in that field?
Well, I think there's a race between the U.S. and China over who can innovate the fastest and the farthest. And I think right now it's very much parallel. But I think the adoption certainly is where China is leading right now. And I think tomorrow, if the trends continue, it could also lead in innovation and design as well.
Well, in what ways has China's tech sector pulled ahead of Silicon Valley? Are there any examples of that?
Well, for instance, with the use of QR codes, that was much earlier and was first in China before it really gained widespread adoption in the U.S. So with WeChat, people just hold their phone on top of one another's phone, and the QR code automatically transfers their contact details so that they're automatically connected. So this is an area where China led innovation. It's now catching on in other markets through WeChat, and I'm seeing it used much more now today in the U.S. With QR codes. So that's one example.
Okay, so China with WeChat, Alipay ahead in mobile, but which sectors in technology would you say China is behind in?
I think they're behind in virtual reality, which is one of the really hot sectors today. And certainly we're seeing studios and new funds being developed right here in Silicon Valley and also in LA. So virtual reality is an area that's also catching on in China, but I think the US, with the strong studio content from LA and the strong technology bend in Silicon Valley is ahead on virtual reality. And virtual reality is a very hot sector right now.
All right, well, China ahead in many ways, but still relying on the US for parts for most of its more powerful high-end servers and supercomputers. Is China progressing on that front to go independently?
Yeah, I think there's a real movement of front in China to push technology and push supercomputing and push semiconductors and to push all kinds of tech sectors. And there's tremendous money being poured into it by the government, by state-owned enterprises, and by venture capitalists, and by emerging companies in these areas. So you're going to continue to see this progression. I don't think it's going to slow down, even though the economic growth has slowed down overall. I don't think in the tech economy you're going to see a slowdown much. I think you're just going to continue to see this natural progression of China getting ahead in more and more leading tech sectors as it continues to develop.
Yeah, the tech sector is certainly part of the new China economy. Now, Rebecca, China's 4G network in certain areas is better than that of the US and the UK, but the coverage is very uneven. It varies greatly in urban and rural areas. So how is that infrastructural challenge being addressed?
Well, I think it's an issue even in the U.S. as well, where you'll see big gaps in coverage. But in China, I think with the mobile generation always on, you're seeing improvements in large-scale adoption and larger coverage networks throughout China, and it's spreading. And granted, the coverage is much better in central cities, even like it is here in the U.S. than in rural areas. So it's one of the areas that needs to be addressed more in the future.
All right, thanks as always, Rebecca Fannin, founder and editor of Silicon Dragon News.